All right, welcome back to the Artist Connection podcast. This is Matt Kesar here with my very special returning guest and good friend, Law. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, what's going on? Glad to be back. Thank you so much, man.
9 times. I'm going to have to start paying you as a co-host.
Hey, man.
I promise, as soon as I get paid, you'll get paid.
I'm gonna say, ain't nothing wrong with an extra check, man. Nah, that's cool. It's an honor, man. I thank you so much. I love coming on the show, as you know.
Always look forward. Always look forward. You were first on here, episode 117, back in January of 2013, and the years are just melting away.
Yeah, man. It's just an amazing platform to have when you got great people like you who are interested in promoting the truth on all levels, you know. And so, again, I thank you, and it's great to be back as always. Thank you so much.
Well, it takes two of us to make it work, and what I love about you, not only on here, you're a consistent guest. You don't hold back with anything, your opinions or your feelings or your advice, and you're the same, I mean, in real life. You know, if you think of Facebook and Twitter and how you share your ideas and your opinions and your thoughts on things, you don't hold back there either. So you're just real through and through, and that's not always out there. It's not always easily available in the world. So I respect that about you.
Well, thank you, man. I mean, we're living in a time where the lies have become the new truth. So the thing is that it's amazing to see me, and I'm not the only one. I'm just one of the more, you know, the ones who are just like really outspoken. But there's a whole bunch of us people out there like that are not afraid and are bold to speak the truth on every level and not interested in trying to be comfortable to fit somebody else's fantasies of what they think you should be, you know, and I'm just not a part of any of that. So it's just really good to stand out and to be there. I always say the intelligent folks get it. And, you know, people get slighted when I say that. Sometimes you can't say shit and people still get into an uproar about what you're saying. But, you know, like I always say, the real people, be it black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, they get where I'm coming from because we have platforms like this and social media where I'm able to express it on an intelligent level because, again, some people just get caught up in their feelings and they get riled up and all that other stuff, and I don't have time for that. I'm just, like I said, I'm a truth teller that just happens to be an artist and a musician, so, you know?
Well, I'm happy for you. I'm happy to know you. I think back to that first interaction with you. I think it was on Twitter and seeing you play your Telecaster, the blue Telecaster, and thinking, wow, love to talk to this guy about music. And then as the relationship unfolded and the friendship unfolded, it's like, wow, there's so many layers to this guy, not only with just musical history, but just sheer talent.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, years and years of things to talk about with you. So
it's just so much to share, man. You know, as a kid, you know, I was always told, it's like, Lawrence can talk. He's talking to. I'm like, yeah, I was. But the thing is that I have a theory, and I've stuck true to this theory when people. That's why I've embraced it. You know, before it used to try to be a thing where they would make you feel like, oh, I said no. The whole point is that if you're going to be a talker, have something to talk about.
That's right. Because there's nothing worse than a talker that has nothing to back it up. Because then you just don't want to hear that person and you avoid them.
And that's another thing too. Not only to back it up, and I've always been that because my action speaks louder than my words. I can talk all day, but when I get on that stage, or if I'm in a situation where I have to prove who the fuck I am, trust and believe. Yeah, everybody knows that. I mean, people they see it all the time. That's why I talk. In the beginning, when people didn't really know me, they had that same theory, but then when they seen the shows, and you know, I've had people come up to me in shows that kept it real. Me like, hey, Lord, I'm not going to front. When I first saw you on Facebook, I'm like, this guy's really, he thinks he's just full of him or whatever, full of himself, and blah, blah, blah. And then they was like, but you know what? You back it up. Like a lot of people don't, and then you're really cool in person. Like I never did because of it. And you know, I have to laugh at that sometimes because, like I said, the people. I say it all the time. People who have met me and hung with me, they know the scenario, man. I've spent more time with my fans than the average artist doesn't usually do. You know, after my shows, like when we saw at the Cutting Room a couple of years ago, me, Roger Ortega, and my boy Shaman from Boston, you know, we hung out with the fans after the show was over. We were hanging out and just talking with them, signing autographs and things like that, and just sharing jokes and stuff like that, because then they get to know you as a person. They realize, you know what? This Law character is not too bad after all, man. To know me is to love me. That's my theory when it comes to that, because you'll be able to understand more where I'm coming from. So going back to what I was saying before, you know, it's one thing because there's a lot of people who do a whole lot of talking, but in the words of James Brown, they talking loud and they ain't saying nothing. So that's why I said, you know, if I'm going to be that guy that talks that much, I have something to say. And at the end of the day, you know, the music is still the heart of the matter because if the music wasn't good, nobody would give a fuck about what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Nobody wants to hear it. Hey, you can talk a good one, but if your music is trash and you don't have good credibility and your rep is tarnished, who's going to listen to you?
Well, we spend
So
a
that's
lot
why
of
I was
time.
trying to make sure. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was just going to say we spend a lot of time talking about your music, which of course I love, and I'm looking forward to the new stuff. But lately,
Thank you, man.
you've been sharing your rehearsals with your dancing. So let's talk about your dance moves. And on a personal note, I always share them at home. I share them with my son because he likes to dance, and he tries to copy your moves off the tablet.
Oh wow! Thank you.
I showed my wife. And then I didn't know what she thought either way. And then I was driving home the other night with her, and I said, "Oh yeah, I got to get Law back on the show. It's the end of the year. I can't wait to talk to him again." And she goes, "Oh, that Law can dance."
Oh wow, man! Wow.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to put that out there that if people don't see it on social media, where you put just enough, 30 seconds, a minute of your dance rehearsals is just enough to show. Holy shit! I want to see more. I want to see a show. So Thank you for sharing that stuff.
Oh man, you're welcome, man. So let's talk about the dancing, huh? So where do I do what? Do we start with the origins or just to?
Well, how long have you been doing it? I mean, when you were a young man and you're growing up in the St. Mark's area, right? That's your home.
You know it.
Your home
St.
turf.
Mark's Avenue.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Crown Heights. Yes, indeed. All projects.
Were you always a singer and a dance man? As a teenager, did people know that you were into music to this level and you wanted to perform, or did you have to do that at home?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, if you ever visit St. Mark's and you ask the people that grew up with my family and that grew up with us, they'll be the first to tell you about me when it came to music and performing. Like, everybody knew what was going on in the Taylor household. And, more so because, my cousin Chi-Chi, that was my only competition dance-wise growing up in the family, and then Chi-Chi could sing her ass off, too. So we, like I said, all of us were involved in the arts on some level. But as far as the dancing was concerned, honestly, it was always natural. Like, I really, I can't pinpoint exactly when, but I can definitely say, I can tell you where it all started. I mean, because for one, growing up, there's television. And then when you're involved in music and you get to allow music to give you that feeling to want to shake your ass, and even though you don't necessarily know why you're doing it, then you get connected with people of like-minded vision. And, of course, my Uncle Bobby Taylor, the late, great my Uncle Bobby Taylor, he was already prepping me because, he saw I was going in that direction. So all the people who he was listening to, I was listening to too. And then because stuff would come on television like MTV and New York Hot Tracks and things of that nature, I was able to watch people like, of course, my first idol outside my family, Michael Jackson. So definitely starting from that pinpoint and wanting to get every move. So while that was happening, I'm looking at Michael Jackson, I'm looking at Prince, and then once I started studying James Brown, I was putting all this shit together. And I was only 6 or 7 years old. I'm putting all this together. Then I discovered, New Edition. And here's the great thing about New Edition, why I always cite them as probably my top dance influences. Because, see, the thing with New Edition and what people don't realize, unless they know the history, New Edition was the representation of what my generation was experiencing. That's why I always call them my generation's Temptations, because they had the setup like the Jackson 5, but they had the disciplined movement, precise movement of the Temptations. But because they were young and from the streets like me, they had the hip-hop thing happen. And around that time, breakdancing was real popular. So, of course, like any other kid growing up in the hood, once breakdancing hit the street, movies like Breakin', I studied Shabba-Doo and Boogaloo Shrimp, who was Turbo and Ozone, and Breakin', and my mother took me to go see Breakin' and Beat Street, and those two hip-hop movies changed my life forever. Once I came from the movie theater, I started pulling out the cardboard. I would go outside, and I would be breakdancing and popping and locking and stuff like that. So I grew up in the environment. Now, this is all in addition to me singing, and cause I was already singing beforehand. I'm a singer first and foremost, but